again, would you say that the federal government has broken their oath to the Constitution? Is this treason? Maybe a third question, what should the people do? How can the people help in this fight, or what's next for this fight?
Well, with respect to cartels and whether or not they are terrorist organizations, as you know, and as these folks know, I introduced legislation to designate them as foreign terrorist organizations. I think we should. I think we should treat them as such. And if some people get hung up on that definition, fine. Call them squirrels, I don't care. But give the tools necessary to law enforcement to go after them. I think it ought to be foreign terrorist, the designation. Knock their knees out from under them. Stop their funding. Stop the dollars from flowing to them. Approach them as the enemy they are. They are undermining Mexico, allowing it to become a narco-terrorist state, then funneling fentanyl into our communities while Americans die. What more do you need to know than that, right? So we should designate them as such and knock their knees out. I think the people of Texas ought to continue to follow this model. I think the people of Texas ought to stand up and say enough. We're not going to allow this anymore. We're not going to allow this flow. We're not going to allow the cartels to have power. We're not going to allow these drugs to come into our communities. We can stop it. You just have to choose to. The Biden administration, to answer your second question, has specifically chosen not to. It's purposeful. Don't kid yourselves. All the media out here. It is purposeful. There is no other answer for it. They are exploiting our laws and allowing them to be abused to the detriment of our country, and allowing the collateral damage to be the people of Texas, the counties in Texas, while they just ignore it. You notice that when there's a tragedy, they have no problem going in front of the cameras to find South Texas, but they sure as hell aren't coming down to South Texas to deal with the daily disaster that we're dealing with every single day down here. What are they doing now? Building a massive, almost 4-acre tent facility to process more people, to send a signal to the world, come here. And then I'm down there with Border Patrol today on the river in the almost 100-degree heat, and a Border Patrol agent's walking up the road carrying a child, a baby, because the mother was out of gas. They're trying to get her water. How in the hell is that humane? How do you pat yourself in the back and call that compassion, which is what our Democratic colleagues in Washington are doing? So yeah, they're abandoning their oath to the Constitution, and Texas needs to stand in the breach.
WOAI?
Probably for Mr. Shahan. All of you guys up here today have said that you need help from the governor. You need help from the governor.
Sorry, can you start over?
Yeah, all of you guys up here today have said you need help from the governor. You can't do this by yourself. What exactly help do you need? Because last time you tried to help by stopping people at the border, it destroys the supply chain in Texas. So what exactly help do you guys need?
Well, I think the governor's trying to do with stopping the trucks right now.
Can we get you to the podium,
And
sir?
inspecting the trucks, the vehicles. I don't know what kind of result we've had from the contract he made with the states across the river. I haven't seen much result from that, but he made a deal with them. But I think just stopping the trucks, it'll help. I think going back to what he instituted before, stopping the vehicles coming across the river, getting Mexico's attention. But we've got to have their attention. As Congressman said, we need to stop people at the border. That's what we need. We need troops on the ground. If you declare it to be an invasion, you can do that. You can enter that. It's an invasion. It's something that's coming that's going to harm us. And the language is there in our Constitution. The language is there in the federal Constitution. So why can't we move on it? Why have we hesitated? So we're just asking him to please consider what these border counties are experiencing. He knows. We've talked to him. Our office talks to his office twice a month.
My question, I guess, is what would you like him to do, though, that will stop 10,000 migrants from walking across the border unobstructed? What would you like the governor to do about that?
Well, I think he's put up wire. He's putting up a fence. And, you know, for us in Kenny County, what we asked him to do at
Get
first,
a little closer to the podium so the cameras can get on.
in Kenny County, what we asked him to do is to come and stop our border, bring troops. We have one landowner that owns all the land that's adjoining to Kenny County and Mexico. We wanted to get an agreement between him and the state, the landowner, to put objects, vehicles, wire, fencing on the border. But from an invasion standpoint, we want troops on the ground. Anyone else want to add to that?
Drive your point home. He actually answered your question. You may have missed it going through. It's repelling it at the border. The governor has that authority. In Texas, only the governor has that authority. Until he declares the invasion, they found as a matter of law and then availed themselves of emergency authority that they can do self-help locally. That's one item. That's what you've seen here today. But the legal finding is one the governor can make himself and then avail Texas of the Article 1, Section 10 authority to repel the invasion themselves. To be specific, for those of you not familiar with it, this is a provision that where it lists a number of things states cannot do. One of them is wage war, not surprisingly, but that has an exception. And the exception is when you are actually invaded. That's been there since the beginning of the Constitution. The states reserve that right to themselves. They decide that question. The state decides, and that means the governor. In this instance, it means the governor, which is exactly what the opinion of the Arizona AG found. So when the judge says turn them back at the border, that's literally what he's talking about. And that's the authority. That's the one step Governor Abbott hasn't yet taken. He's provided a lot of succor, a lot of help locally, as you heard about different examples, especially from the sheriffs. But that authority and that step has not been taken. And until people believe coming up into this state and into this country that they're going to be turned away, they will keep coming. They will keep coming. That's the one. That is the one step that has to be
To
taken.
clarify, using DPS to wage war on migration or the slave trade, though,
As I said, it would look just like Title 42, except under a different legal authority, the Constitution, Article 1, Section 10. We're not talking about tanks and planes. You're just literally talking about stopping people and turning them back around. But that's the legal authority under the Constitution.
This is for the judge, Keating.
Judge Shagan.
Go ahead, Tim. For who? This for you and for everybody else that wants to answer this. I need to ask you this question to all of you. All of you. Would you be pushing this hard for this declaration of an invasion by the governor if the invaders were from Norway, Germany? It needs to be asked. It needs to be asked. It needs to be asked. I'm sorry. It needs to be asked because of the political whatever we're living. It's a legitimate question. Would you be pushing that hard if they were from other than Latin America?
¿Quieres en español o en inglés?
Okay, I'm going to answer this question because we are pushing it very hard now. Terrell County has less than 1,000 people. We have had over 100 different countries go through Terrell County. That is of every shade of melanin in your skin. We have experienced an invasion that is something of every language. And I say that. I am a multiracial judge. I'm standing here letting you know it is not of color. There are over 100 countries coming through. We express this. We are trying to protect the sovereignty of Texas. So we are letting you know that that's where we stand today. I am a constitutional judge, and we are standing behind the Constitution. Thank you.
Right.
Okay, can I know?
Yes, we have a question here from
Germany.
Yeah, Germany. Go right
Hi.
ahead.
First of all, thank you for letting me be here, and I would like to send this question to Mr. Morgan or a sheriff who can answer it. So this open border has created a child trafficking crisis like the world has never seen. This is the truth. Doesn't this now make President Joe Biden one of the biggest child traffickers on this planet because he's nothing doing? You mentioned it 3 times that the federal government does nothing against that. You are seeing children going through your borders. I camped 10 days at the border, seeing 87 children unoccupied from any adults coming to your country. So is this a yes or is this a no?
Yeah, let me tell you about that. So Secretary Mayorkas gets out in Congress, lies
directly lies to members of Congress. He's lied to this man right here under oath. He's lied to the American people when he says, this is one of his sticks that he says out there, that they're developing a safe, orderly, and humane system along the southwest border. It's a lie. It's a blatant lie, and he knows it's a lie. Let me talk to you about Secretary Mayorkas and this administration's safe, orderly, humane system for the migrants themselves. Right now, under Biden administration's watch of a little 18 months, more than 800 dead migrants have been found at our borders. 800 dead migrants. If you add in what all these gentlemen behind me have discovered too, that number is exponentially higher. We have Doctors Without Borders, a non-governmental organization, has said that up to 30% of young women and children are raped and sexually exploited on their journey up here. Border Patrol agents, like this man right here, who spent 26 years of his life, he could attest, Border Patrol agents multiple times have interviewed girls as young as 12 that have been raped multiple times on their journey up here. Tell me what the hell is safe and orderly and humane about that? Parents and smugglers themselves give young women, 12, 14-year-olds, they give them birth control and the morning after a pill on their journey because they're just expecting that they're going to be sexually assaulted on their journey up here. The Border Patrol in the past 18 months has conducted over 20,000 rescues. 20,000 rescues. They risk their own lives. Think, if they wouldn't risk their own lives, just think how many more dead migrants that we would have found on the southwest border. And we haven't even talked about the trafficking. The trafficking, think about it. You don't have to be a border security expert. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that if you exponentially increase by 300, 400, 500% illegal immigration, you're also increasing the atrocities suffered from human trafficking. The sheriff talked about that. A lot of these migrants coming because of this administration promised to them that they're going to be released and never deported. They're coming. And they're being smuggled, but they don't understand. At the same time they're being smuggled, they're also being trafficked. They just don't know it's till it's too late. They'll pay $5,000, $8,000 once they're released to the United States to get a knock on their door. It's a smuggler cartel. You know what? The price went up. I don't have it. No problem. Here's how you're going to work it off. That's happening every single day. So think about that. As the numbers this fiscal year alone, 1.5 million apprehensions. 1.5 million apprehensions. Last year, 1.9 million last year, 1.5 so far this fiscal year. Think about the number of young women and children now that have been sexually assaulted because of the open border policies. Think about the absolute expansion of human trafficking and atrocities because of this administration's open border policies. Think about the highest number of deaths in any 18 months of administration that we've experienced right now because of the open border policies. Because the smugglers, the cartels, and the migrants know under this administration, if you make it to the border, break into it illegally, you will be released into the interior of the United States, and you will not be deported. Why the hell aren't they coming? Of course they are. And one last thing I want to talk about, another question. Another thing we don't talk about, right now under this administration, 850,000 known gotaways. 850,000 that have broken into our country and evaded apprehension. Why? Because 80 to 90% of Border Patrol agents are pulled off the national security mission, off the front line. They're relegated to administration jobs, hospital watch, transportation, security, and processing. That's right, 80 to 90%. We have literally handed over operational control large areas of our southwest border to the cartels. And this secretary says the borders are closed. And again, Representative Roy, under oath, had the definition of operational control by law, which in part says the prevention of all unlawful entry. Yeah, that secretary said he has operational control at that moment, knowing that 800,000 illegal aliens have evaded apprehension and made it to every town, city, and state in this country. And those are the knowns. If you talk to Border Patrol agents, they'll say the number of those who have gotten away are way past 1 million. There's 9 states in our country that only has about 1 million in population. Yet more illegal aliens have gotten away in the past 18 months than 9 states' total population. And yes, here's the reality, and this is where I get my hate mail, but I'm not going to stop, because just like these guys and gals have showed the courage and talked about their truth, the truth is, in that 850,000, there's some really bad people. There are murderers, rapists, pedophiles, and gang members. Every single day they're getting away, and they're making their way to every town, city, and state. How do I know that? Because Border Patrol has arrested about 19,000 criminals, including over 50 for murder. And every single day they're arresting a gang member or a pedophile. So do the math. Think about how many dangerous individuals are among the 850,000 gotaways. Yet this administration stands by and does nothing. They double down. They lie to the American people. They say our borders are secure. It's a lie. They say they have operational control. It's a lie. What you heard today from these courageous individuals right here, the first time, as was said by Ken, is that this is absolutely an invasion. And it's not just an invasion of people. Think about it. Drugs, we mentioned that. 107,000 Americans died from drug overdose in a 12-month period. That's more Americans than died from all the terrorist attacks combined, the Iraq, Afghanistan, and Vietnam wars combined. In a 12-month period, more Americans died. The leading cause of fentanyl from adults from 18 to 45 is fentanyl in this country. And we know that 95% of the fentanyl comes from our wide open southwest border. Hell yes, that's an invasion. And again, the 850,000 gotaways. We've been invaded by gang members, criminals. I mean, the list goes on. And let's not forget, it was briefly mentioned about our national security vulnerability. I worked with the FBI for 20 years. Let's not forget that in this fiscal year alone, 50 illegal aliens have been apprehended on the FBI's terror screening database. 50, another record for this Biden administration. They actually apprehended and released a suspected terrorist in the United States. It took them 2 weeks to figure it out and apprehend him.
It took them 8 months to answer my letter to DHS asking that question. Can you repeat that?
8 months. 50 illegal aliens have been apprehended this fiscal year on the FBI's terror screening database. And a couple months ago, they released a suspected terrorist in the United States. It took them over 2 weeks to figure it out and apprehend him. It took them over 8 months to a congressman. I mean, that's outrageous. I was a commissioner. If I would have ignored Congress, I heard about it every single day. You just don't do that. And let's not forget, it barely made the news. The FBI just recently thwarted a terrorist attack where an illegal alien that was in the country illegally was planning to kill and assassinate the former president of the United States. And how was he going to do that? He was going to bring additional terrorists through the wide open southwest border. So hell yeah, I'm proud to stand next to you guys on this stage. And I agree with Ken. This is unprecedented and this is courageous. This is an invasion. And I agree, and I've been out there and will continue, just as everybody back here. Governor Abbott has done more to fill the gap left by this administration abdication of their constitutional responsibility under the guarantee clause. Absolutely. And so has A.G. Paxton.
I'm sorry to interrupt.